Here we go. I do apologize again, everybody, for the technical difficulties we're having. I don't know what is going on, but we are going to get this fixed for next time because this is just atrocious. So we're getting into Game 3. This is Game number 3 between Kawaii Desu and Vigilante Gaming. Game number 1 was taken by Kawaii Desu. Game number 2 was taken by Vigilante Gaming. And here we are in Game 3. Game 2 was a pretty good game, back and forth, pretty even, went pretty long as well. And the game is now into the final stages. The series is into the final stages, and we will see some quick bans here. The Ash, Leona, and Oriana Vladimir bans. Kawaii Desu will be picking up the blue side again. They will also ban out Ramus. They were blue the first time, and they are back where they started. And as I mentioned, Vigilante Gaming will be on the purple side. And I will eventually, hopefully, be joined by a co-caster who, for whatever reason, is not here currently, but we will hopefully get one shortly. Caitlyn band coming out from Vigilante Gaming. That will be targeted at Egha? Not sure. But that would be targeted towards the AD carry of Kawaii Desu. First pick, we are going to be waiting on that right now. And the Lux pick will be coming in for the first pick of the game. That was something that was warned against and banned against the last 2 games. So this will be the first time we are seeing that Lux in this series. And it looks like it will be a Zac and Thresh pickup. Zac also having his first appearance in this tournament, as well as that Thresh if he does get picked. Although hovering over Tarek, they are right now. And there we go. So it looks like those two will be locked in. Thresh and Zac will be locked in there for Vigilante Gaming. Thresh probably going to be going into that jungle there. Most likely won't be sent top, but here we go. Magister Hega will be picking up that Sona for the support. That is the 3rd pick for Sona. Sona's gone 3 for 3 in this series so far, although Malphite getting locked in very quickly there. Malphite is absolutely a great pick in terms of getting everything all set up and ready to go. In terms of the team fights, the ultimate coming in unstoppable force, unbelievably good at locking down a target. Corki may also be getting picked here for Vigilante Gaming. And that Singed being hovered over now as well. And there's the co-caster.
Good we go.
We are good to go. Alright, so Jace is now is going to be in the top lane instead. You should be at the same stage as me, I believe, there, Rockwell. We have a few seconds delay on the stream, about 3 seconds there. But that is quite okay. So in terms of what's going on here, we are also going to probably see the Jax being picked up here for Kawaii Desu. You are viewing this, are you as well, Rockwell?
I most certainly am.
Okay, good.
I would like to mention that completely separate to the game, I'd like everyone else to notice that CJ has an insane amount of icons, and it makes me die a little bit. But that's completely separate. I'm really interested in seeing what they've gone here. As far as the Malphite versus Jace top, I'm really interested just to see how that dynamic is going to work out for them. Unless they're doing something crazy with a Malphite jungle, which you don't really see a lot of anymore.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't think Jace top has been is seeing as much play as he used to. Maybe just people are finding better counters for him, but interesting pickup nonetheless. We are seeing yet again more of that team synergy when it comes to team fighting coming in here from Kawaii Desu. They will be picking up that Jarvan, it looks like, again as the 3rd game in a row. I believe they've had him, and an interesting lockup in the Morgana.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see. They've had the exact same strategy every game so far, and I mean, it's had some mixed results, obviously, with the win and then the loss. But they're really all about the 5v5 engage. They're almost taking a book from the Royal Club in the respect of let's just go ham with it. But I think the Katarina pickup is really, really messed up. I'm not a huge fan of it. You've got so much displacement. You've got the Jarvan knockup. You have the Malphite knockup. You have the Sona not or stun. I'm
Oh, it
I
looks
don't
like
like
they.
that. I don't like that pick.
I think they have to remake, and I think we're actually gonna have to stream, or sorry, cast off the stream as well.
Yeah, that I'm doing that myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that as well. We're gonna cast off the stream. I do apologize. It looks like there was an issue where there was someone had to leave there. I actually don't know the rules on this, so I'm gonna have to try and ask Lee.
He's good. They're gonna pick all the same stuff. It seems that we've just had a small.
I did not. I actually don't know the rule on this one, so I'm letting them know. See if I can find the rules here real quick.
It seems the main issue here is they didn't want to do a three-man swap. It was just some poor planning on the on the side of the blue squad here. They didn't realize that the person who picked Morgana couldn't switch with the virus because they didn't have the champions.
All right, so we are should be fine to keep going.
Yeah, so what's actually happened here, because Lee, the admin, has given it, they accidentally picked Morgana instead of... So what we'll actually do for here, just to make it an easier idea, the easiest way of doing this is, because the pick on Katarina was based on the last two picks that were made on the side of Blue Squad. So the only way to make this fair is for the person who accidentally picked Morgana to pick Varus, and then he'll be able to pick, if he doesn't want to pick Katarina, he doesn't have to pick Katarina, he can pick somebody else. That way it's fair, because the Katarina pick was based on the concept that Blue Squad had the 5 champions that they did.
Yes. Apparently this is not... I don't know.
So... It seems to me that it's almost like the purple squad here is looking at an easy way for them to get a win. They see that there's a mistake here, and they're kind of trying to push it as much as they can to get a free win on a mistake that was made on the other team. I don't know if I'm looking at more on the unsportsmanlike on the purple side, or if we're looking at like the unsportsmanlike on one side, or just the concept on blue.
In this case, I think we're gonna have to default to what Lee said, as he is the admin. So we're gonna go. We're gonna play this again. Rockwell, you're not even in this thing, are you? No, it's okay. I think only I need to be in there. You're gonna cast off stream.
I'm just casting off stream.
That's fine. So yeah, what we're gonna have to do, if you guys are watching the stream who are in the game, Lee has told me, and I quote, "It's fine to reset, but every pick has to be the same." I asked if they can pick the champion that they wanted or no. He says yes. The last pick, which is the Katarina, can change because she was locked in after the fact. So Varus can be selected, however, everything else needs to be the same, and the Katarina can change as a result. You don't need to redo the lobby, you can just go.
You do not have to redo the lobby. Just Morgana becomes Varus, and Katarina can pick Katarina or any other champion. Just go nuts.
It will not start.
Can't play. Won't start.
Okay, no need to be a prick about it, so...
I was actually trying to help you a minute ago.
Yeah, let's just remake the lobby, everyone put a tampon in, and play the fucking game. This is not that difficult.
Typical lead community.
Are we in another game?
Yeah,
I don't know
you have
what's
to
going...
leave that lobby. It froze on you. Just you have to quit out of that lobby.
I'll just re-invite me whenever you're ready there. There we go. Okay, let's try and get this all set up.
CJ, completely, your background makes me sad.
I love it.
My OCD is just going crazy.
There's two lines.
Do you still use Fraps?
I just have it on my screen.
I was gonna say I haven't had like a requirement to use Fraps for a long time. We actually have to play Awesome Knots more though. That was like the best game that you ever bought me. It was also the only game you ever bought me, but
Confirmed.
it was pretty awesome.
The lobby is getting made here, so we should be into the game fairly shortly, hopefully. As mentioned, we're gonna have to do repicks and bans, unfortunately, and we will just get that started out here in just a minute. We'll be...
Yeah, I mean, just so people who are coming in now know, or that were confused about what happened earlier. There was an issue with the side of Necromage and the people on that side of the map where a person who was trying to lock in trying to lock in Varus accidentally the game defaulted and locked him in as Morgana. Now, what ended up happening there was then Purple side, the side of Sham Saver, was looking at picking Katarina because the other team had no AD carry. So to correct this mistake, what we've now done is everything's going to be identical. The only issue is the Morgana is going to become a Varus, and the person who picked Katarina in response to that team comp is now going to be able to change Katarina to pick whoever they want because it makes more sense because you have to be able to pick in response to the other team as he was last picked to make sure everything is fair.
I'm just gonna call Lee so that he can go over the rules with everybody. Oops.
Get him in. You're gonna physically call him. Call his cell phone.
All right, Lee Bennett.
Hey, CJ.
All right, you can go over the rules. All you, buddy.
Well, like, what's the dispute?
A person who's trying to lock in Morgana, the game defaulted and locked him in guy who's trying to go Varus, the game locked him in as Morgana. So in response to that pick, the other team picked Katarina. So the issue here now is that the guy who picked Katarina needs to be able to repick, and the guy who picked Morgana needs to be able to pick Varus instead.
If you mispick, you're supposed to leave the game, like, immediately if you make a mistake.
Yeah.
Like the champ select. Otherwise, you can't really change it because then it just causes a chain of problems.
So what do you think should be able to happen then?
Well, did they already leave champ select or what?
Yeah,
Yes.
Everyone's left champion select.
If you want to read chat, the other team is saying that Lee or Cat was not a counter pick, but again, I'm just a commentator. I don't make decisions.
Like, did he leave immediately as soon as he made the pick? Because otherwise, like, they can do one of two things. They can play it out the way it was that they already picked everything, or they'll have to do, like, a complete repick, because if they picked one champion on one team and that caused a change on the other side of the team, well, yeah.
Okay, so the guy on the other team, Skeleton Bill, who's on the opposite side of the pick, says, shit happens, people make mistakes, just remake the game with the same picks and bans minus the change Varus or Morgana to Vari. So is that okay?
Well, like I said, if the Morgana pick caused a different pick to happen on the other team, then you'll have to either do a complete repick or do it completely the same, one or the other. Because was anything else picked after this Varus was picked? Or Morgana, or whichever one it was.
There was a Katarina, but it doesn't seem like they want to change that.
Well, if they don't want to change it anyway, then that's fine. Then just change that one pick. But
okay.
I just meant, like, if the Morgana pick caused the other team to pick something different, then you would have to do complete repicks. But if it didn't affect them at all, then yeah, whatever. As long as they left the lobby right away.
So, does that mean we're doing a complete repick, or what's the deal? Because either team is really not. I don't know. We're not really getting anywhere here.
No.
I don't think either team wants to budge. Need a final verdict.
Well, I just need to know if anything was picked right after the Morgana.
Yeah, it was a Katarina was picked.
Okay, so was the other team happy with their Katarina pick or not happy? Like, in the event that Morgana was changed to Varus, would that have changed the Katarina pick? Or would the Katarina pick be there regardless?
Swap the cats.
All right. So
Okay, so Cat was a planned pick from the start. So if he wants to keep Cat, then
If he
Morgana
wants to keep Cat, then they can do the one person switch. But if they didn't, if them taking Varus would change the Cat pick, then do a complete redo of picks. So it's up to the team that picked Cat. It's their decision.
Okay.
I'll be back in a sec if the problem is still going on.
Oh, the problem won't be continuing. I guarantee it. Total repicks, it looks like, is what's going to happen.
Yep.
Alright, so that's fucking simple. There we go. Let's just do
There we
total
go.
repicks.
Total repicks and bans. So let's see the dynamic of the team. So completely separate from everything else. Now we're going to go ahead and look at this fresh, as if, you know, take everything else out of the equation. CJ, what do you think this is going to play into the minds of either team? What do you think is going to be the difference with the bans that are currently coming out?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure, but honestly, after we see the picks, after we see the bans, we will see what's going on in terms of what team is going for what. We see the Ashe, Orianna, Leona, Vladimir, and Rammus bans. Those are pretty standard to what they were last time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know that they didn't want to have that Orianna after the absolute blowout that it gave them the first game. So it was understandable that they wanted to get rid of that. And the Vladimir did give them a lot of hate in both games. The Rammus ban is interesting that they threw that out, where he didn't seem to be a huge factor. But there, you see, the Varus.
The Varus, yeah, there's that Varus ban. So we will see the Caitlyn first pick for Kawaii Desu. And we'll probably see the same pick coming in here, which will be the Thresh and probably the Zac for Vigilante Gaming, trying to keep that team comp. I think they had something in mind, and they're going to try to keep that going.
Yeah, and this is where the extra allowing of you called that one exactly. The extra adding of the bans gave both teams a little bit more insight on what the other team wanted to do this game. Easy example of that. What's the pickup on Varus? They banned it knowing full well that blue team wanted to pick that.
Yeah, you're absolutely
the advantage
right.
that they got from that small mistake that they made with the with picking Morgana instead of Varus has allowed Purple to ban that out. Smart planning.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And then there's that that Sona, and that Malphite pick as well. Although we will possibly see a Tristana being hovered over here by Vigilante Gaming. Interesting choice. I believe last time they ended up picking Ashe, but this could be an interesting pick if they decide to go this way.
Yeah, I mean, the pickup on Tristana makes a lot of sense with this team comp, as well as the Jace, because when you have the huge AoE comps that blue team has been throwing in, I'm just going to shut right up if they go Garen. That just...
There's the Lux. The Lux will be locked in again.
Yeah.
I don't know how... I mean, it got all the way through. And it was first pick last time, so we might see that Lux be picked in here. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I don't think that Garen's going to be locked in, but I would be pretty astonished if it was. And if it does get locked in, then there's a good chance that I'm just going to go home.
Yeah, I mean, the pickup on Garen doesn't really make sense with the team comp. I mean, you're looking at all in with Malphite, the AoE with Malphite, the AoE with Lux, the AoE with Sona, the pick, just the siege potential of Caitlyn.
You know what it is?
But then,
you know what it is? New Garen ult shakes the whole map. Just saying, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. The
No
shockwaves just messes everybody up. I'm
done. I'm done.
I mean, I gotta say, I'm kind of voting for blue team to win this just because I do love me some Garen.
I'm done. He's not going to jungle. Of course, he's not going to jungle. It's going to be Necromage switching around Garen top lane versus that Jace. But I just can't even. I'm so happy that someone finally picked Garen.
Yeah. But look at this. I mean, both of these team comps are doing some really interesting stuff. And I mean, you don't see a lot of Vikers. And
I don't think we will. I don't think we will.
I mean, you're looking at Viker's actually a pretty understandable pick against this because you've got Malphite, who is essentially saying you're going to have to build tank because if you pick AP, I'm just going to ignore your armor. You've got Tristana with the knockoff, don't bother diving me, Malphite, because I'm just going to knock you away once you've engaged on me anyways. It's all over the place. You've got Jace for poke, Tristana for siege.
There it is.
There we go.
Okay. So, as mentioned, there's that Katarina. They picked that Katarina before there was that whole kerfuffle. So that makes a whole lot of sense, is that they want to stick with that Katarina to try and snowball the lane.
They had it in their back pocket, as they were speaking of before.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, I think that makes more sense. So we will be sticking with that.
It's interesting that Blue Team, who's been all about the AoE comps, we're going to blow you up all at the exact same time. And now Purple Team has gone with the exact same thing. They got that Zac. They got that Katarina flying around. They got the box from Thresh.
So really, it's almost essentially the same team comps as we saw last time. More selection differentials coming in coming in for Kawaii Desu, but pretty much the same, honestly, around the board. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's identical, except for the AD carry. It's identical for Vigilante Gaming. They're sticking with the strategies they have. They know what they wanted to get, and they got it. So they're going to stick with that.
And I mean, it worked out for them last time. It seems that with Blue Team, just they want that 5v5 team fight, and they got it much to the disadvantage of the other. They were making the fights happen, and they were winning them. So they just decided. Vigilante went, okay, we're going to do that 5v5 with you, and we're going to beat you at it. And last time it worked out for them.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting game here.
I think if they can keep the fights that are going to happen around Dragon, they're going to be some crazy, crazy stuff. Two teams that are both built for 5v5 comps. I mean, you've got Garen and Malphite that are going to just want to get at the back line. But then you've got, what is the back line? Thresh and Tristana. Tristana with the crazy range potential.
Yeah, if that Tristana gets going, the Tristana will just win.
Yeah, I do.
If the Tristana gets shut down, and there's a lot of potential from Kawaii Desu to do that, then it pretty much makes everything shift in the favor of Kawaii Desu. If Malphite can knock up Tristana, keep her out of the fights, Caitlyn's got pretty good range as well.
The moves that remove Katarina's ultimate, because Blue does have, Kawaii Desu, they have the ability to stop the Katarina ulti, but it's with ultis. So it's gonna be interesting because it gives them the option. Do we throw our ultimate to Katarina to stop her ultimate, or do we use our ultimates to get to Tristana in the back line? Purple Team has some crazy damage threats that are available to them with the Katarina, the Jace, and the Tristana, where Blue Team's sitting on Caitlyn and Garen and Lux. Lux, who's obviously more cooldown based than Katarina is, as far as the length of her damage. It'll be interesting to see. Interesting to see how this one works out. I'm really excited for the 5v5 fights that are going to happen, because both teams are looking for them.
I think I'm going to have to do some settings in game once I get in there, because I think I still have this set to full screen. So there might be some flickering once we get in the game for like 3 seconds. I will adjust that, so just a heads up. And we are about 16 seconds from actually loading into the game right now.
So CJ, what are your predictions? What do you think's going to happen?
Well, if I was just going to base everything off of what happened the last game, I would say that Kawaii Desu is going to dominate the early game and then just bring it home in the mid-late game. After last game and watching them kind of, not throw exactly, but kind of let the game slip out of their hands, and then seeing how Vigilante was able to respond and start playing, instead of playing reactively, start playing proactively, I would honestly right now give the advantage still slightly to Kawaii Desu. I think they're going to dominate the early game, and I think it's going to come down to if Purple can make it late enough.
I agree in the respect that Kawaii Desu's got. If we're looking at the last two games as representation for skill, they definitely have the advantage in early game. Just their lane matchups worked really well, and their mid laner is just a monster. Really, my fear and why I think the Purple team might be able to pull this one out is their 5v5 positioning last game was fantastic. And with as many threats as they have available, I feel like they might just be able to, with Azuma on Jace and with Katarina, I think that they're going to be able to just destroy the mid line of blue. I think that they're going to be able to pull it out late. I do.
Well, we do have the skin advantage coming in from Kawaii Desu, so...
Yeah,
really,
never mind, I changed my opinion.
Yeah, really, the game was just won and lost here in Champ Select, so,
yeah. It's because the reason that they lose is because Jace doesn't have a skin.
Alright, so, video...
And here we go.
Oh, I'm already in Borderless. Why are my graphics only at medium?
You should actually cast from your stream, though, so we're both on the same point.
There we go. Yeah, I will be casting on my stream. I'm just going to adjust a few things here to start off. I think the picture looks fairly decent.
Very good. Very good.
It's a little bit behind. Let me just fix up a few things here. Garen, we're going top lane versus...
I mean, you're looking at a direct Garen counter here by Jace.
There we go. Alright.
I believe, actually, CJ, on multiple occasions, you and I have done Jace versus Garen tops.
We have.
And you are a better player than me, and I usually get the upper hand on you in Jace. So it's interesting to see how this works out, the skill matchup of Jace versus Garen, because we are a living representation that skill loses to champion select sometimes.
I think it's a kit. I don't know if Garen's going to be able... I mean, it's going to be tough. Garen's going to probably have to wait till like 3 or 4 before he can really like win the lane.
Well, I mean, you're looking at the itemization is a perfect example of where each of these people sit on their skills. You've got Garen, who's going armor pots. He's planning for the long haul. He knows that he's going to start getting that poke, and he's got to weather the storm until he hits 6. Where Jason, on the other hand, he just went right for the fairy charm. He knows he's getting tier early. He's not afraid of not having combat stats. So,
a little bit.
The support pickup early with the pink ward for the Sona, I think is going to be interesting to see how that works as well. I don't think you have. It's going to be. I'm excited for
sound.
this.
My apologies there because I had to turn it down for last game. All right, there we go. We got sound. So, we are in game, and everything looks like it's starting off pretty simple.
I mean, it's the matchups in lane are going exactly as you would expect them to. Garen actually getting really aggressive with Azuma. He is not afraid of that fairy charm start. He thinks he's just going to run right at him. The couple of missed Qs now have Jace's mana down a little bit. Gives Garen that couple of seconds leeway.
Back into the mid lane. Looks like everything's going to be pretty standard there. Farming out Lux and Katarina is going to be one of those lanes that probably won't get too aggressive until further on their levels, probably around 6. Garen doing what he can there to stay alive in the top lane as well. Jace is probably going to irk out a little bit in the early game, but we will see how he's able to do that.
It's really going to come down to if Garen can keep up. Oh, Malphite with the gank early. Pops that flash from Azuma. A successful gank.
Successful gank is indeed, and now that Jace doesn't have as much escape, we will probably see Malphite go back up there. Lux being taken down to half health in the mid lane. Not going to probably go too much more there from Katarina. We will probably wait for those 6 dives.
Well, when you've got Katarina being able to keep a Lux down, you know, to not get absolutely out-harassed in lane, that is a good job on the Katarina. Oh, she gets the binding. No real answer. But a Muffin Man doing a great job of CSing against a much easier, like in-lane opponent in Lux. It's not an easy lane. But bottom lane for the Caitlyn Sona is just got Thresh and Tristana on their heels under their tower here. Not a lot of wardage though. They're definitely susceptible to those ganks.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The warding in this series itself has been a little bit on the shy side. Not a whole lot of ward of dominance from either team, really. We're also not seeing vision wards be as big of a a factor in some of these games as they probably could be. But one way or another, you know, so far it's been pretty even in terms of the warding. No real advantage for anybody so far. And honestly, the first 4 minutes of this game have been a little bit quieter than they were last game.
Absolutely. I think both teams just know what's on the line. I mean, you're at the best-of-3 series here. You're both 1 game up. The first game, which went absolutely dominant for Blue, where they just let their early game dominance show. And then second game where they could just they kind of pushed on the brakes a little bit and then got overthrown late. Both teams know their strengths and advantages. And I think both teams were kind of shy and afraid to really show their hand too much early, because if either one of them gets behind, they're both just going to snowball out. But here comes a gank in jungle.
Could see Malphite be taken a little bit low here. There could potentially be a first blood here. Malphite being taken really low. The Ignite is ticking. First blood.
Oh, there we go. Katarina first blood. That is bad news. Oh, he re-engages, but Lux just backs out.
I'm choking on energy drink. All right.
The exhaust is down early. Now the exhaust is down. Here comes the shield. Sona and Caitlyn in hot pursuit. Thresh turns back around, gets that flay. They're both going to assist that. Good job on Thresh to be able to keep them at bay there.
And in the top lane, Garen going to take very low. He's not going to be able to be finished off by Jace just yet, but he is definitely in a bad position in that lane. Jace is irking out just ahead ever so slightly.
Yeah, and I mean, that's to be accepted, or, you know, expected from that lane. I mean, both of them went in heavy on the non-combat stats. Garen, obviously, with the pots and the armor just to survive in lane. It's the worst case scenario is a Garen, but here the lantern is not there for the Tristana to pull him in.
Up the top lane again there, we're just going to see the farming continue. Bottom lane right now is kind of on a bit of a tipsy-turvy edge here. Whichever team really wants to put on some aggression probably could, but we don't see any wards in the rivers. We don't see any wards in Tribush, so right now both teams kind of flying blind, hoping that no one comes down to gank, and Malphite may actually make his way down. He's coming in to farm up his golems as we speak.
It's actually really lucky on the respect that Malphite got ganked and died early. You've got a Thresh with 0 summoners bottom, you know, stuck in the middle of the lane. But Necromage going back in, big mistake. Zuma, though, takes a tower hit. Ulti comes down. Good job on Necromage.
Yeah, that flash ulti from Garen, absolutely what we were talking about, that we were probably going to see. Garen with that whole new rework, everyone loves it. And now that he's off to a 1-kill advantage, we're going to actually have to see how he decides to build. Is he going to go for more defensive stats, build himself as a big tank, or is he going to go for some offensive stats, build himself as a spin crit machine?
Well, we see the answer to your question come out big time with a belt and another armor getting picked up. We know he's going tank. We know that he's going for that early Randuin's Omen. That is going to be a tanky Garen. And where you've got the non-combat stat in the tier coming out from Jace, I don't know if I like that pickup. When you've got Garen with the first blood and you grab non-combat stats in tier, you've now given away your poke comp, because Garen's going to be able to survive it anyways, and if you get non-combat stats in tier, you now have to worry about spamming your abilities. You're not going to be able to get those early damage out. Garen is just going to roll him in lane now.
Well, if he is able to get us some damage, you're absolutely right. He probably will be able to do some damage there. Jace still eking out a little bit on the farm, only about 4 CS ahead, not enough to really make a big difference. And the mid lanes, as mentioned, are pretty much just farming each other out right now as well. I think, honestly, in terms of what's going to be happening here in the next couple minutes, is going to be the junglers looking to set up some good ganks.
Yeah, I mean, now that the buffs have started to reset, Malphite's going to be able to get back into a little bit of tilt. But this is what I'm talking about. Jace just runs in, and look at that damage that he's be able to put out. Garen is kind of misplaying this a little bit, letting that poke come out with no real answers. And without pots in lane, even with his passive, Jace is really good at stopping that passive from being used.
Interesting note, he did pick up a vision ward, so he's going to probably try and deny a lane ward from Jace when he does come back. Jace has that true damage, probably doing that percentage of health damage, so he's doing a pretty good amount of damage to Garen right now. But Garen, of course, does have that Garen passive, and he has bushes, so we should see some pretty fun lane ganks here. And overall, as we mentioned, it's kind of a bit of a slow start here. No real heavy engagements. The warding itself is pretty passive. Really, only 2 or 3 wards out on the map at one point in time. And honestly, I think this is probably the first real aggression we're going to see. The first team fights is going to be that first dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it's already 9.5 minutes, and there hasn't even really been any dragon control or warding. Both teams are just completely content on staying in lane with small trades back and forth. I mean, you're Lux slightly up on farm on Cat, that's pretty understandable. You've got Jace slightly up on far on Garen, that's understandable. The only real advantage that we see here is a huge CS advantage. 11 CS up on both of the jungles who are pretty much just trying to farm. And Jax, who hasn't even gone back yet. Or Zach, rather.
Might see something going in on the bottom lane here. Tristana will ulti in, and will jump in. The laser coming across, and there's a double kill coming in. Kawaii Desu, and the save from the Lux. Malphite will pick up a kill onto Tristana, and the Caitlyn will pick up a kill onto the Thresh. That was an awesome turnaround for what looked like a pretty bad situation for Kawaii Desu.
Yeah, I mean, this is just really well the lack of wards that come over purple team. Lux just strolled down in the bottom lane with no real wards to be able to see where she was coming from. Throws the laser out at the same time that Malphite gets a successful lane gank. 4 versus 2 with the Lux ultimate, just gonna absolutely destroy them with no real answer.
Will put Katarina in a bit of a bad place, although she did pick up a needlessly large rod on her first buyback, so she will be doing some pretty good damage. Lux does now have that that assist advantage. And I imagine the gold is pretty much even here. If we just take a look, it's about 2,000, yeah, they're only about 100 gold difference between the two of them. So really, at this point in time, it's kind of still here, hearsay, so.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to what the itemization is that's coming out for both sides. I mean, that Zac is actually... I will take my words back. Zuma is doing an amazing job against the Garen who got first blood. Is doing an amazing job of keeping up tilt. And now bottom lane's actually throwing that aggression down. That hook missed, but still the aggression's big time bottom.
This is the problem for a champion like Garen, who doesn't really have any real gap closing mechanics in terms of actually getting to one place to another in split second. He has to walk towards you. Jace has the advantage when it comes to things like that. Although we will see a gank possibly coming in here. We do see Malphite in the bush there. Here he is. Here comes a slow Will Malphite decide to pop the ult.
The early flash may seal his death here, but the Malphite ultimate is down. Here they come under the tower. The Lux ultimate comes out. Amazing pickup. Again, Conan just throwing his dominance, that uncontested roam that Lux has the ability to do with that ultimate range. Just playing huge dividends in this match.
That was a pretty nice snipe, I will give you that, absolutely. Jace now being down, he is 0-2. Garen picks up an assist on the play. Probably going to put him a little bit further ahead in terms of gold in that lane here. Just taking a look, it is a 3,000 gold lead, a 300 gold lead right now for Garen in that top lane.
Yeah, I mean, that really comes down to just... the reason that Jace is keeping up the tilt that he is just amazing play on Azuma. He's done an amazing job of just keeping up on farm, slightly ahead of Garen. But with those ganks, Garen's able to catch back up again. That advantage gets thrown when those ganks allow Garen to just free farm a little bit. Push it into the tower, back, grab some more items, and come back tankier.
And blue definitely wins early, but we do see a gank coming in the middle. Malphite will ult across. The Lux laser does come across.
Oh, the ultimate comes out. Lux laser! Crazy.
Yep.
Amazing job on Conan.
We have a 5-second delay, it looks like. Wondering how we could counter that, but well, unfortunately, we're gonna have to deal with the delay. And anyway, back into the game there. Sorry about that. Basically, we will have to deal with the 5-second delay, so I do apologize about that, everybody. We are trying to. We will try to fix that for the next time the streams are going to go on. I'm not sure if it is actually possible using Skype and the stream delays themselves, but we will see what we can do. But as we mentioned, here comes the vision control going on towards that dragon. We were going to see a couple wards drop down by Vigilante Gaming. They don't really want to give that dragon up too early. They would try to, they're going to try to contest that as best as they can. There is that Garen in the top lane. He does have his, he hasn't really bought anything since he's gone back there. Still sitting on that Giant's Belt and double cloth armor, while Jace has his, he does have his Brutalizer in, fully completed right now, so he's doing a pretty fair amount of damage to Garen right now, even despite the armor that Garen does have. Garen just taking some shots.
That tier pickup is actually starting to, is really going to start to pay off now. Where he didn't get abused from grabbing the... Oh, that nice pick! Anek is in some problems, but the Zone ultimate comes out, saves his life. Zach just under the tower, not giving a care. The blob will get blown.
I think you're a little bit further behind myself as well. On the stream.
I'm looking at the stream itself.
Yeah, what's the stream at for you?
15:18.
Yeah, you're a few seconds behind, refresh. Garen up in that top lane, as I mentioned, just doing his farming, trying to do what he can. He's still up a little bit on that Jace, 88-97. We're going to try and pull the stream delays in as much as we can, although we're not going to be able to do perfect. Malphite might be catching out the Caitlyn in there, sorry, the Katarina in the mid lane. The ultimate from Caitlyn will come across, and Lux will pick it off.
Very well done.
Kill secured.
Very well done. I'm actually looking at some forums right now, people talking about the delays. Necromage actually kind of getting stuck there on some creeps, has to flash away. Apparently there's a problem with Ob's Twitch and Skype where people are getting delays.
Ah. And back onto the back on the top lane there, Garen is still getting harassed down pretty hard there. But Lux is going to come in, going to try and land that binding. She's not going to be able to get it. She will be putting down the Each for the damage, but Jace will pop the gate and just walk away. They might still chase on it. They're not going to bother. Garen's a little bit too low to tower dive right now, although he does want to lay down some ultimates on people.
Yeah, I mean, Conan's just throwing those pokes out. This is a really big advantage for Purple where they might be able to throw this bottom tower. They might be able to just siege it. Where Bill's got the Tristana range, able to just throw it down, but the Caitlyn ability to counter siege is really well as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And still back down on the bottom lane. Tristana forced to jump away. A lot of damage coming in from Caitlyn there. So she will jump away. 3 men in the top lane now for Vigilante Gaming. They might try to pressure this tower down. There is a 6 kill lead right now. Coming in for Kawaii Desu.
Yeah, I mean, this is the disadvantage that Purple has put themselves in with a 3k down. Their team is very much reliant on diving in, and if you're diving in on a tanky team who has more gold than you, you're just diving into your death. I mean, that's perfectly relevant when Zach tried to dive under the tower and died, because even with his passive, the bottom lane just had that gold advantage, they had that positional advantage, they were able to survive it. They've kind of put themselves in a little rut here. I'm really interested to see if they'll be able to get themselves out of it.
And as for the AD carries, Caitlyn has already finished her Bloodthirster, although we will see Zach possibly coming in for a gank here. We'll talk about that in a minute. Zach does come in, looking to possibly get a slow onto that Malphite. Malphite doing a lot of damage back. Zach pops the ultimate. Let's Bounce is going out. Garen does join the fight, but I think this is going to be a bad fight coming in here for Vigilante Gaming. Lux will pop the laser. There could be another kill. Garen will pick up the double kill here, and that is a 2-for-0 exchange coming in from Kawaii Desu.
And that's just really well played. I mean, you've got that Lux. She's got that ultimate cocked. Waited until they were grouped together and slowed. Throws that out with Garen doing his spin to win. Obviously, they're just setting themselves up for some bad times. And again, they extend that gold lead another 500.
Aaron is just doing what he can to be as tanky as possible. He finished a frozen mallet, and right now he is just a very tanky guy. He's doing some pretty good damage onto that Jace there, forcing him away. We could see Jace will flash away. Garen, is he going to try and go for it? No, he will just let that one walk. He does not have his ultimate to finish him off.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was talking about with the non-combat stats that Jace has, plus now the advantage that Garen has got from these ganks. He can just dive, and with the frozen mallet pickup, I really like that pick. Because if you auto-attack him, the Warden's Mail is going to slow you down. Plus, then he's going to get closer with his frozen mallet. He's going to slow you down more. Garen, that you can't peel from, you're going to have a bad time.
No, you're absolutely right. And Garen, despite being down pretty much in the lane almost the whole time, being pressured down by that Jace, is currently sitting at a 3-0 position. So he's not doing too bad for himself. He's leading in kills, he's leading in farm, he's honestly winning his lane right now, and no one really likes to farm to Garen. Because then you start feeling like every bush you walk into is not the safe bush. So we're going to probably see some wards having to come out and try bushes and lane bushes as soon as this laning phase does finish out.
The lack of towers being taken is really testament to both teams' respect for one another. I mean, both teams are pretty heavy on the AD. I mean, you've got Jace and Tristana. As far as top champions go, you've got some pretty good wave clear there and the ability to siege a tower. And on the other side, you've got Lux, who's got really good wave clear and roam potential, as we've now seen, and Caitlyn, who's the queen of siege, but no towers being taken.
You're absolutely right.
It's just really testament to both teams' respect for one another.
And call him a liar. The first turret of the game will go down here. Kawaii Desu picking that one up. They now have Dragon control with that bottom lane being down. They're going to want to probably push on to the mid lane as well. See if they can put that, get that down. We will see if that will work out for them so they can pick up a Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, with 1:30 down and bottom tower doing quite well for itself, and they should be able to, in about 45 seconds from now, you'll see some crazy push down bottom and then some transition to Dragon. And this is those fights we were talking about. But with 5k gold down, you might not even be able to see those 5v5 team fights because Blue's just going to dominate.
You're absolutely right. And right now, we as you mentioned, the gold lead is pretty heavily in favor of Kawaii Desu. They were in this position last game, and they were able to Vigilante Gaming, but there's going to be a pick onto the mid lane. Oh, Lux is able to pick off that Katarina. Absolutely just rips her a new one. She is off the map, erased.
This Conan, I mean, he's really, all 3 games, he has just shown himself to be a dominant figure, but Necromage might get taken down from Azuma. Zuma just giving him the pressure. But this is that tankiness of Garen. He might be able to get out of it. The creep stop his Q. No movement for you.
And that will just be the end of the chase there. Bottom lane, back to that Dragon. We are seeing a bit of posturing. Nothing too heavy back, back in the top lane. We might see Jace take down the first tower of the game for Vigilante Gaming, but we will most likely see a Dragon Dance coming pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, purple and blue are both posturing up for it. I gotta give it to blue on this one, though. Only Thresh is coming to contest. There's no way that they stop this. This is just blue having that gold advantage, being able to pressure it, and purple just not really having an answer for them.
You're absolutely right, and there looks like there would have been a little bit of a confrontation there. Malphite probably wanted to ult on out of that Tristana, and they're not going to bother. So they're just going to retreat for a few minutes. Backwalking a little bit too far ahead, taking some damage. We could potentially see a pick here on that Lux. You will get the binding.
Oh! The ultimate actually lands. The Thresh box is going to slow them. He's going to make it out, even with a KT Sham Savior just throwing it down. The ultimate lands on him from Malphite. The Bloblets will get popped. Katarina goes down. Blue just using this advantage. It looks like Elena will get picked, though.
And despite all that, it looks like it's only going to be a 3 kills coming in overall. I thought there was going to be pretty much a team wipe there when that Lux caught out the Thresh, but we will see only the 3 kills here. Jace may actually catch on towards Caitlyn, doing some pretty good damage. She will be forced to run away. Jace is not really stopping this one yet, but now he will be forced to.
Runs into that trap. Decided instead of killing Caitlyn, he'd rather eat a cupcake.
That will be Garen in the top lane, trying to take that that tower down.
Oh, he actually gets it! Bill's in trouble under the tower, has to jump away. This 406 Lux has just really given everyone a hard time in all 3 games. The roaming that came out from it, it was the Muffin Man picking up the Katarina. They had an idea. It was a good idea, but Lux saw it coming.
Now Lux, there's not really an answer for her right now. She's completed her death cap and a chalice, and of course boots at 23 minutes. She's doing pretty good amounts of damage. She also has a blue buff, so right now her ultimate's on a pretty quick CD. She can pretty much kill 1v1 anybody she wants right now, as long as she lands her spells and gets the burst. I don't really know, Rockwell. If you're on purple side, what do you do to try and shut her down?
You're looking at a team that scales really well. Katarina with a really great late scaling, Tristana with one of the highest damage late scaling potentials. You really gotta just buckle down and try to make it to that late game, because blue has just destroyed you in the early. You gotta push those lanes out. You gotta keep your objectives moderately safe, and try your hardest to get Tristana into a point where he can dominate the game, because the Lux ulties are just hurting everyone so much. You have to try to keep her at bay.
Kawaii Desu looking for a fight there. There's a crescendo coming off. Oh, there's 4 members going down. Oh my goodness, 4 members got the crescendo, but only 2 will be dying. That Lux and the Caitlyn able to pick off 2. It looks like they're going to try and turn around. Vigilante Gaming not going to be able to do that. There is going to be this tower going down for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the wave clear of blue is just so good. They cleared the wave, waited until they went in a little bit. Sona landed an amazing crescendo. The Lux ultimate primed and ready to just destroy everyone, sense disruption through the waves. It just, the mid line and the back line of purple have to worry about Lux ultimates just two-shotting them. Just really well played. 12 kill lead.
It's pretty scary. And I mean, despite the 12 kills, they're also up a turret, so, you know, it's... And now they're up 2, so it's, you know, right now, Kawaii Desu's just they're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I mean, you've got objective control. The Sham Savior misses it. Might be able to get the slow off, dodges the Q. Garen coming up from behind. Sham is in a bad spot now, might be able to escape. They decide to switch back over to the lane.
And honestly, at this point, I think only 1 dragon has been taken for either team. Yeah, there it is. The dragon timer just did go up there. Dragon will be coming up in 2 minutes. Dragon front to Kawaii Desu. It's the only dragon that's been taken in this game so far.
The problem that purple has now is Jace's main time to be a dominant player is when the enemy team doesn't have cooldowns. When those ultimates are down, the problem with this is with how far ahead they are, they're unable to push those advantages when the Garen ultimate down, when the crescendo's down, when the unstoppable force is down. They can't actually push anything because they're down so much. And because they're a dive comp, now they're behind, it gives them that extra disadvantage. They really just have to try to wait, get some picks, push the game up a little bit, and avoid those crazy crescendos that Sona has just been putting down. That's twice now that they essentially won them an entire team fight because she landed an amazing crescendo.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Just everything is going in the favor of Kawaii Desu. They're doing pretty good. Don't know what the ultimate was there from Malphite. He kind of just ulted to the side. I don't know if he was trying to get a better positioning on the fight or something, but he kind of ulted in the wrong direction. So unfortunately, he won't have that up for the next team fight.
Yeah, I mean this is a nice little that misclick has given purple team about 90 seconds, 60 seconds to give themselves a little breather here to try to, you know, scrape back a little bit of the mountain that they've now had pushed against them.
That was interesting. I don't know what that was, but you know what? We're gonna go ahead and say he meant to do it.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Positioning.
Yeah, all about that positioning. And just going back to the AD carries there, despite the fact that Caitlyn is ahead of Tristana, in terms of the items and farm right now, it's, Tristana can scale pretty hard into the late game. The problem is Purple needs to make it to the late game. Currently, they're not really in a position where they're going to be able to do that. They're going to have to try and get a couple picks here. One or two people.
At 28 minutes, if you're looking at Tristana, you've got the Infinity Edge to match Caitlyn's Infinity Edge, but where you only have a Zeal and some lifesteal against an incompleted Bloodthirster and almost a Phage, Caitlyn's actually going to start getting tanky as well. I mean, working towards that possible Triforce on Caitlyn. Not a usual pickup, but with the advantages that they have, a pretty understandable pick.
I'm not sure if they're going to go for the Triforce. You could be right there, although the second Dragon of the game will be getting picked up. Kawaii Desu. I would be really interested to see if Caitlyn go for a Triforce. I don't think I've ever seen one build one, but I've seen crazier things in this series, so let's kind of hope that happens.
You got to build Triforce on everyone.
That's true. A new Triforce, build it on everyone.
Yeah. No, she might just have the Phage for the added mobility and then switch over to something more understandable on a Caitlyn, because you don't really spam. You kind of lose the advantage on that Sheen proc. Now they've all just walked past a ward. They think that they're playing a kill bush unknown to themselves, but they actually are a complete vision of Purple.
And they're gonna catch out Garen. I don't think this is the champion that they want to. Thresh drops the box. Unfortunately, he's not gonna do anything. Kind of missed his chance there, unfortunately. Zach kind of just watched that happen. So unfortunately, that gank is not gonna go the way that they were looking for it.
No, and I mean, where they had the advantage a second ago from the Miss Malphite ultimate, now the advantage for cooldowns is actually back in Purple's seat. They're back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to probably get a little bit more out of that gank than they did. Garen, he's a tough guy, but they might have been able to actually get him there if they had to drop some ultis on him.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, if you're going to throw all of your ultimates onto Garen, you've still got, even if they got the pick, it's going to take 2 or 3 ultimates to take them down. If Purple Team gets a good positioning on a Lux or a Caitlyn or a Sona, they're in a pretty good spot. But pulling Garen out of position, you've now got a catch-22. Do you kill him and waste all your ultimates, or do you not kill him and let him get away even though you picked him? Both ways, there's some huge disadvantages.
You're absolutely right. And now that they're kind of just taking a moment, the teams are breathing. When you take a look at what's going on, it looks right now like the vision control still in the favor of Kawaii Desu. They have those deep wards, and I think they're going to be trying to push it onto the Baron and possibly the inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, I mean, they dominated early game to a point where Purple's mid game just got absolutely wrecked, and now Caitlyn's siege potential. Oh, they actually get the pick on Thresh. Has to flash away. Oh, the ultimate comes out and picks him off behind the inhibitor. Oh, man. This is some bad news for Purple. They're making small mistakes like that on a disadvantage already. I think this turret's just going to go down. The ultimate comes out. The crescendo behind it. Garen just tanking the tower. Oh, this is just bad news. Just real bad news.
There is the ace coming in with the Caitlyn ultimate. We'll come across. There it is. Garen is going to be walking away. They just dove that turret. Not a single concern. This is going to most likely be the game here. I don't think that there's any way that that Vigilante Gaming is going to be able to come back from this one, unfortunately.
No, Blue did an amazing job of just kind of throwing down the hatchet and just really pushing their advantage when they needed to. I mean, you're looking at Conan 7-0-10, 17 of the 19 kills. Though they win the game, they win the series. MVP Conan all the way. I've just become a Lux fan.
A Lux fan. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Game 3 of the series between Kawaii Desu and Vigilante Gaming. It was actually an incredibly close series. Come on, there we go. So, thank you very much, everyone. I do, again, apologize. There was some technical issues throughout the entirety of the series. We're still working on these. And we're also going to try and look into what happened with the picks and bans and try and get that whole situation fixed one way or another. That is the end of the series, so hopefully everyone enjoyed it. We will probably be streaming more games next weekend. You can stay tuned to that. If you have any comments, suggestions, concerns, anything like that, please go ahead and make a thread onto the forums there, the Facebook forums. And again, we do appreciate you guys all